Gym revenue often drops in summer, and we all know it. If you don't do something about it right now, you're going to be the victim of a summer slump in 2025. The good news, we are going to lay out a plan to help you avoid that with summer camps for kids. This is Run a Profitable Gym. I'm your host, Mike Warkentin. Please hit subscribe wherever you're watching or listening with my thanks. With me today, Debbie Rosslan of CrossFit Unstoppable in Missouri. She's a gym owner who's had great success with summer camps for kids. Deb, do you think we can help people avoid a summer slump today?
Sure thing.
Aha, I'm excited about it. So I'm going to jump right into it. So I'm going to ask you, I always looked at summer as a period that I had to survive and I wasn't thriving. Is it actually an opportunity as a gym owner?
Of course. Yeah. In the past, I was kind of like in the same boat, and I utilized my PE background to try to do some different things for the kids in the summer.
Yeah. Did you ever have really bad summers? Because I sure did.
Yeah. Back in, I think, 2014, I was trying to find something that would help boost the revenue. So I came up with I think we went for 8 weeks. We did an 8-week camp, and we did like field trips, different things like that. Went to the pool. We had people who could drive us, and it turned out to be a good success. But looking back now, I don't know how I survived that.
Yeah, I had some dark times, and year after year, I'd look at it and I'd say, why is my summer revenue so bad? And I'd figure out, I hadn't done anything to drive it up. And then I had summer cancellations, vacation holds, and all the stuff that everyone else gets, but then I wouldn't do anything about it. And it happened year after year after year. And it wasn't until we actually started planning about now for summer that we actually had some success and things turned around. So if you're listening out there, the time to do it is right now, because summer kids and parents, everyone's making plans right now. If you do nothing today, you're going to have a tough June, July, August, and we're going to try and prevent that. So you said that you had some summer slumps in the past or some things that you didn't really like. What does summer look like now at your gym?
We're pretty busy, between I do a 1 or 2 week camp for just, the kids, that kind of thing. But then we also do speed and agility camps. We do some volleyball programs, strength and conditioning programs, and we do it in the morning, which isn't ideal for some parents, but it's just what works for us, and it keeps the kids busy throughout the summer. So we stay pretty busy.
Okay. So you said speed and agility. What were the other ones that you had on your list?
Strength and conditioning. I do some jump training for volleyball athletes, and then we do one-on-one personal training for the kids in volleyball, because we have 2 volleyball courts in our gym.
Okay.
So that's utilized a lot throughout the year.
Do you get a lot of repeat business? Like, is it the same kids coming back every year as they age up, or is it a new crew every year, or how do you acquire these people?
Usually it's a new crew, and I've got like 4 different Facebook pages. I try to do some affinity marketing, bringing the parents, sharing with my members, hey, we're doing a CrossFit Kids Camp. I already got parents asking me if I'm doing a week after the school gets out, doing my 1-week camp because it was such a success. And then I'll just send out emails to my past participants to come in and try it out again. It's middle school kids, grades 6 to 8. So, but then the younger ones, it's usually grades 2 to 6. So I have a different age group for each thing.
So how much revenue can a kids program generate? Give me an idea of what's possible.
So it depends on, how many kids you want to accept. Usually for my jump programs, I want to limit it to, 6 to 8 kids, and I can make anywhere from, $70 to $100 an hour for that. For my kids camps, I usually charge, $30 a day, and that's just for 3 hours. So I can, within the camp that I'm planning on, I think I'm going to be making $85 an hour. So it just depends on how much you're charging, and how many kids you're willing to accept.
How many kids are you willing to accept? What's a good number?
It depends. Usually for the kids camps, I'll take up to 12, just so we can make like an even number for games, events, things like that. I've I've had PE classes that have 40 people in a class, so I can handle big groups, but I don't want 40 little kids.
Yeah, and that's wise. I think there's a limit with kids where one to 10, 12. If you're very skilled is good. We get 1 to 20. That's where you start to get in trouble. In a PE setting, like you're skilled in a classroom, you might be able to handle it. As a fitness coach, often a second trainer comes into those situations, and you can do your pricing model to kind of figure that out and decide if you want to manage more people, you might change your prices a little bit. Let's talk about the essential elements of a kids program. Like, what should gym owners put into these things? Because a lot of people right now, if they're sitting there and they have nothing planned, they're going to say, okay, I don't know how to set this up. I don't know what to do. I don't know. Like, how many sessions would a good kids program offer? How many weeks would it go? What kind of stuff would you offer listeners for that?
The first of all, I think you want to make it like a 4 to 6 week program. Right now, my volleyball programs are just based on like month to month with 8 sessions in a month, which is a good place to start, to see what their progress is, showing that. For kids programs, 2 times a week. But the big thing is to make it fun to where they want to come back. Because if you make it to where, they're dragging and they don't want to be there, then you're not going to get that recurring revenue. So, anywhere from 2 to 3 times a week, 4 to 6 weeks long. I think that's a good starting point.
Is fun different for different age groups? Like, our kids, when you have like young, like say 6 to 9 kind of age group versus like 12 to 15, is a definition of fun different for those children?
Yeah, I think all kids want to be competitive, but they want to play games. And being the PE teacher I am, I always try to gamify things. And you can even ask my members in the gym. We will play games here and there, just to make people laugh and be silly sometimes. But I think the fun for the little ones is playing the games that they like to play, and make fitness fun to where they want to come back.
Yeah, I think that too. And it's Chris Cooper's written about this, where sometimes with like the really young ones in that 4 to 6 to 8 range, it's like games and fun and silliness. And you might limit those sessions to like half an hour, because the attention span there is like not great at times. And you want to keep it fun and keep them coming back. One of the CrossFit kids, Jeff and Mickey Martin, said this: end the game before it stops being fun. That's a great one to remember if you're out there. Then Chris has talked about he called it a varsity program and things like that, where they have older group. For those kids, fun is different. They might want to do sports testing or performance testing or some competitive stuff, and they might have performance goals where like winning and competing is fun for them. Whereas for kids, flapping the parachute around might be fun. So he recommended 3 age group splits, and it was in the range of like 6 to 9, like 10 to 12, and 12 to 16 or something like that. But you can figure out something that works for you. Piece of advice that I'll give you is, if you have nothing on the table right now, look at your membership, figure out where the majority of members' kids fall, and just hit that one age group hard. And then you can look at expanding, but it would be better to have one big program than say 3 sparse ones. Deb, have you ever been challenged to like set your prices too low? Like, that was a mistake that I made. So I looked at my membership and I said, okay, I'm charging $157 for a kids program. For an adult program, I'm going to charge $100 or $90 for a kids program. That was a big mistake. Have you done that?
Yeah, I look back when I first started, and it just, yeah, I was like, why did I do that? So, yeah, and it takes, I think, a lot more energy as a coach for kids, just because, you are taking care of the discipline and, keeping them on track. And, they're not as mature as our adults in the class. So, they should be priced just as much as, I've priced some of my kids stuff higher than my adult memberships. So, and the parents are willing to pay that because they see the value in helping out their kids.
Yeah, it's a specialty program. And if it's special, that means it probably should cost a little bit more, right? And that's a mistake that I did make. I thought that it was a kids program. I should underprice it, but it's really not true. And if you look at the programs for organized sports in your city and town, listeners, you will see some crazy prices. And we're not talking about gouging your clients, your kids' clients. What we're talking about is like the perception of value and what's really out there. So like I talked to a guy yesterday, his kid does swimming. And I was like, oh, at least you don't have to buy like a lot of equipment. He said, the swimsuit is $700. And I couldn't believe it. So that's to kind of give you a little bit of perspective. So a 4 to 6 week kids program with 2 sessions a week with an expert coach that's designed to make them have fun and have a great time and make them love fitness and all that other stuff. That's a premium service that is not worth less than an adult membership. It's not worth less than the martial arts school down the road. It's not worth less than the gymnastics program. So look at what's priced, some of the pricing around you, and it should be priced at least equal to your adult programs, if not more. And then look at some of the pricing around you, listeners, so that you do that. Now, Deb, talk to me about, you mentioned a little bit of this, filling and marketing a kids program. If you have nobody right now, how would you start this? If I said to you, Deb, you have 4 weeks to get a kids program going, how would you fill it?
First, I would look at my member list and just see who had like you mentioned before, target who has the kids in one range of age or whatever, and then just start it from there. So for instance, I've got a open house for a new kids program beginning of May, and we've been marketing that for like the last couple of weeks. I put it on my members page. I tagged all the members who have kids in those age ranges because we're doing like 2 separate groups. So start off with your member base, and then I'm going to just, blast Facebook, that kind of thing, share kids' pictures, that kind of thing, and just target that group out there. Target teachers. I've got a lot of teacher friends who, in elementary school, so I will get with them and they share my posts, those kinds of things.
Have you found it when you've talked to your members and you said, okay, I have this program coming up, let's say speed agility or whatever it is that you've got going on. Are they immediately interested when they have kids?
It depends on how busy they are because their kids are in so many other different things. But if I can make it to where they know it's going to be benefiting them, then usually they'll sign on. But a lot of my programs, I've got a big list of volleyball kids who, come back around anytime I have something going on.
So then it's going to be key for you to keep a mailing list and to say, okay, these people were in my program. Next year, I'm going to email them all again and say, this is coming back. Are you still interested? Do you do stuff like that?
Yeah. So I've got a spreadsheet that has everything listed, 3rd grade, because I start my volleyball program at 3rd grade. And then I just I put them to the next level. So I've got from 3rd to 9th grade of the kids who've been involved.
Okay. Talk to me about the pack mentality of parents. Like when you find one parent who's interested, is it very easy to then say, hey, I want to surround your kids with the very best other kids. Can you give me some names of some people who might be interested? Has that ever worked for you?
A few times, like this open house that we're having, I messaged the people who are interested because they've done my programs in the past. I was like, okay, bring a friend with you. And that has helped. It's also helped with my jump program, my volleyball, bring a friend with you, and then they end up signing up. So it's good stuff.
Local Facebook groups, has that worked well for you?
I tend to stay off of those. I don't really, I've never gone onto that. I know people have tagged me in some things on that, but there's really, I think, one Jefferson City site that I could go on, but I stay off of that because it's a lot of negative things too. Yeah, it sure can be, especially right now. But if you're listening and, Deb's got a whole network outside of that. But if you're not, you could start looking into like local groups for parents or local groups for community clubs or kids activities, any kind of stuff like that. You could even start talking like hockey groups. Hey, hockey parents, I have got an upcoming program to get your kid ready for next season. This is dryland training, 4 to 6 weeks, 2 times a week. These 2 age groups, message me for details. That's kind of the help first Chris Cooper philosophy. I've got
always have his book within distance here. That's the idea, is offering some help in those local groups. You could absolutely do that, and it works wonders. If you don't have to do that, you could definitely do this. Deb mentioned affinity marketing earlier. That's where you're talking to people that are close to you. And that's where you're saying, hey, Tim, your son, he loves hockey. I want to get him in this program. Do you know of anybody else who might be a perfect fit for that program? And you can kind of use this 6 degrees of separation thing to get an entire program filled without spending $1 on ads. Like, that works really well. Deb, do you spend any money on ads?
For my my regular membership, I do, but I've boosted some ads for like my kids stuff, and it's worked in the past. But I tend to stick to the affinity stuff and the groups that I have right now. So.
And that's my recommendation, listeners, is if you are getting something on the line, on the rails right now, don't worry about figuring out a paid ad campaign if you're not an expert at that. Talk to your current members, talk to the local groups. Someone in your gym is a teacher, someone in your gym is a coach of some sort. Start talking to those people and figure out how can you help their clients, their athletes, their friends, their family. How can you help their little ones get fit and have fun in summer, because parents are looking for activities right now. So start with that. Principle is affinity marketing, and you can find lots of info about that on the Two Brain blog. Deb, I'm going to ask you this. So you're the expert. If you're a gym out there, you have nothing on the calendar right now for June, July, August, what would you do today? Like right now, after this podcast ends, what would you do to avoid a summer slump?
I would probably come up with maybe like a Saturday kids class to help out with that. And if you have air conditioning, then find a trainer who is good with kids, and maybe do an evening 2 times a week kids class, and just make it fun. And there's so many things out there that you can do that you could get those kids signed up. And we're planning on trying to do a 2 class a week during the summer in the evenings, and then also maybe a Saturday or Sunday morning class.
So if I threw this at you, so I'm going to run this by you, this would be a plan. You could do, listeners, if you're out there, you could say, I'm going to run a 6-week session starting from call it June to mid-July. And you're going to go, let's say Saturdays at 9 a.m. if that works for your space in your gym or something like that. And you're going to do 6 sessions. Call it that. Just a nice, easy starting point. Deb, what would you price that at? 6 sessions for a group of, let's say, 10 to 12 kids.
I would probably do $119. So about $20 a session. I'd probably only do either 30 minutes or 45 minutes. So, and then that way you could get 2 groups in there.
Yes, there it is. So already you're finding a way to make that hour valuable, and then almost 2x it by getting a second group in there. So let's say that group of kids is like, they're your 7 to 10-year-olds or something like that. They don't need an hour of stuff. They need 30 minutes of stuff, and you're going to move fast, get them in, get the next crew out. You could get 20 kids, 10 and 10, in 1 hour, priced at $119. That's Deb's recommendation for that one, $20 a session essentially. And you're going to run that for 6 weeks, pardon me, and you're going to do Saturday mornings. Here's what I would do right now. After this show ends, I would go and I would walk into your gym and I would find the first person with kids and ask them if they'd be interested in something like that. And then if they are, or if they aren't, ask them who else that they know might be interested in that. Repeat this throughout the day with the people that you see in your gym. And I bet that you can fill that. Deb, do you think that plan would work marketing wise?
Oh yeah, I think so. I plan on using that.
I think it would work. And you know what? Here's the thing. I was really bad at paid marketing. I was bad at running specialty programs and things like that for children. I assigned this to a staff member at my gym, passionate about kids, invested in the program. And all that person did was just start talking to our members and said, hey, we have a kids program now. Would you like to sign up? The thing was full right away. And then all of a sudden, a few other people heard about it because they told their friends, and more people were there. And all of a sudden, I had more kids than I could handle. We had little pink dumbbells running around and pool noodles, and everyone was having a blast. And the revenue went up, and the summer slump didn't happen that year. So, Deb, thanks so much for being here and sharing the secrets. I hope this is going to help gym owners all over the world avoid the summer slump. Thank you so much, Deb.
All right. Thank you.
That was Debbie Rosslan. This is Run a Profitable Gym. Thanks so much for watching and listening. Please subscribe for more shows just like this, because we help you fix your gym and build a better business right here every single week.